Pesacheem daf ein he tanur shesiko v'garfo v'afo bo v'salo bo. Mishita rishonim chom tanur shegarfo le'umar kechalim v'shalhevet. Re-explains, and even though this is at the end of the Braita that according to everyone you're allowed for bread that was made on the coals, but coals are different because the heat does not come from the flame, but because it becomes from their own, and they're considered just dirt. But heat of the tanur that was cleared out because of the heat of the fire, of the torch that was in it, is asur, is complete asur. It means the kasha, since the bread is asur when it's attached to the tanur. If so, when you empty it, the tanur, and you bake in it, the bread also should be asur. And Anne says that it's by when even if the flame is by, the bread is baking it, it's only a isur drabanan. And Tosfos says that it's not mashma like this in the Gemara. It's mashma this asur in the Torah. Shulchan Yoredei halachot avodah zara simon kuf mem bet sif dal natal mimena et sim asur behana. If you took wood from them, it would be asur and not hisik ba et tanur ben chadash ben yashan yutzen. If he fired up the tanur, the oven with it new or old, you have to break it. Then you have to heat it up. So you have to the tanur, you have to make it cool it off. Then you have to heat it up with the wood of heter. If you didn't make it cool and bake the bread in it while fire, the ramas both shabuka can connect the fires against it. How is the asubana? Would be also another. Yes, sheva hatse isu bepat. It could be there's a benefit from the wood that's asu. It's a kind of tour. And the chula continues towards the end. Garaf et kol ha'esh v'achakach bashel or afa b'chol moshel tanur. That is the mutar. If he emptied out the whole fire and then he cooked or baked in the fire, in the heat of the oven, this would be allowed. It's isur halchalayim, because the wood of the isur is gone. Now, next topic is saliyat al gebe chalim. The shita rishonim is that Pesach shesalu b'chom hatanur v'al gebe chalim, the Pesach that was roasted on the fire on the tanur and on the coals, Rambam passing to the Rabbi Yochanan, and also like the words of Rabbi Yehuda in the Braita that it says Hisik the tanur v'garaf et kol ha'esh taluhu b'tanur v'salu. Is also that if he heated up the tanur and he emptied the whole fire and he hung it up in the tanur and he roasted it, this would be asur because it's not sali esh. And if he cut it up and roasted it on the coals, this would be sali esh. And if he roasted it on lime or plaster or the water of Tevaya, this would be asur because it's still not considered sali esh. Salah ha-pesach al gechalim, if he roasted the pesach on coals, it says that if he did that, this would be sali esh and only coals of wood. But if he heated up a metal and he roasted on it, this would not be called sali esh. And Rambam being stam his words and doesn't make a chiluk between coals of wood or metal. Next topic is Pesach shenaga b'tanur, that Pesach touched the tanur. So we had Ain He in the Amud Bed. The Mishnah says that if you touch the the wall of the tanur, he has to peel it off. So the Shita Rishani Nadar Pesach Tanur or Nataf Merotma al Hacheres Chazakat. Rambam says that if you touch the meat on the coal, on the clay of the oven, he has to peel off the place of it because it's considered roasted by the clay. And if a drop of it fell on the clay and he went back on the meat, also he has to peel off the place on the meat, because the whole marach and anything that separates from it, any moisture comes separate from it, when it's roasting, it's asur because it's not considered basar sali. It's considered like cooking. Nataf merutva v'chaza yetol et makamah. The Tosfos says that this time they make it asur, the whole thing, like the sali that was cooked in his fat, is because the fat is boiling. But when it's a juice of it, it's not as a boil like that, and it just boils out, but it's only a regular juice, and it's not a fat. And according to Rashba and the Ran, the rotev is also mefafeya, and it doesn't make the whole thing awesome because you have shishim to mevatel it, and it's not a noten time, and that's the Pesach Shulchan Aruch. Nataf merotva al hasolet yikmos et hamakom. Rashi says that he has to burn that part, the komis, like other kachim pesulim. If he so the Gemara said if the juice fell on the flour, he has to take out the place of it. And Rambam says, "Nataf min harotev shelo al hasolet." If the juice of the Pesach fell on the flour, yikmos et mekamo v'yishlichenu, take off the part and throw it out from the flour. And Miri says you should throw it or burn it. Sach ha-Pesach b'shemen truma or masesh, and if he puts oil of truma or masesh on the Pesach, Rambam says if he is oiled b'shemen of truma, if it's a chabura of kohanim, they can eat it. If it's Israelim, if it's raw, they should rinse it and wipe it, and if it's roasted, they should peel off the outer one. If they soaked it with the oil of masasheni, they should not give the value of it with the people on the chabura, because you don't redeem masasheni Yerushalayim, like he explains in this place. Next, sachar b'shemen teruma im solihu yiklof et hachitzon. If it with the oil of truma, if it's roasted, you should peel it outside. Tosfot says that it's talking about hot or cold, because since it's soft and it's absorbed, even though it's not hot, that would be also need to be peeled. And that's also that of Rosh and the Rashba and the Ran say that only when it's hot it would be also. And also Pesach Shulchan Ramah passing like the Rosh Shulchan Aruch Yoda Halachot Basar B'Chalav Siman Sadi Aleph Zayin. The end it says Sali Yotach Shenafal Maliach, if the roasted hot that fell on the salted one, even though if it's eaten because of the salt of it, it needs to get peeled off. And if it has cracks in it, or shehu matul bal tavlin vehu sali v'tach kula asar, if it was dipped in spices and the whole thing is hot, is roasted, and the whole thing is hot, it would be asar. Ramah says even if it get hot, the korban dina hachi, Sorry, I feel him. So if the call, there was be the same din. I couldn't be Yosef. I couldn't Rosh and the two. You can't yesh lin hug im yesh. And hefsed meruba should do this. If it's not hefsed meruba, it should also be the call have the same chumrah. יורדן הלכה תערובה סימון קוף הסעיף בכל דבר שיש לו פיפוי שנפל למקום ידוע מהחתיכה בסלי אף על פי שיש בחתיכה שיש לבטל איסור צריך נטילת מקום. Anything that has pipua that fell in a place that's known from the part that's roasted, even though that has a piece 60 matter isur, he needs to remove that part. End of halakha Pesacheem daf ein he.